What's up, guys? So I'm over on the test server. I wanted to make this a fairly short, straight to the point video on HYDRA with Titus. What I have right here is a 100% full auto team that is going to be doing really good damage. I ran a quick battle on it earlier, and this is the damage that it dealt. We got climbing up slowly but surely to turn 1000 and 1.4 billion damage. Is this the most? No. Could you push it higher? Yes. Is Titus in the best blessing? Absolutely not. Cruelty is doing nothing because I have Lydia and Lady Mikage already in Cruelty. So besides a little bit extra stats, it's not doing anything whatsoever. Now, as for the champions in this team, I want to run through what each champion is bringing and why it's important. You'll see here that Titus should be the only champion or one of the only champions with this set shield still on him. So this is the set one. This one is the casted. Once he gets eaten, this is going to go away and it cannot be reapplied. Not even through blood shield, unfortunately. I wish it could, but it can't. So we have Lady Mikage, no set shield. There's no set shields anywhere. They've either gotten devoured or they just fell off earlier in the fight. Now, once Titus gets eaten here, it's so late in the run that it's basically just time to cancel it. There's no reason to continue the run because by the time he gets another shield built up, it's going to be too late. We're going to have no extra damage, no time to actually get the shield to be maxed. So there we go. It's going to end right around 1.3 million, but I'll continue talking about this while it's playing in the background. We can free him, though. So if he was eaten early in the fight, there's a chance you could get it built back up and continue the run. But for now, it's going to be done basically this 1.4 billion damage mark, which is still a lot of HYDRA Clash points. Now, as for this team, what's required, what's not, why's what, where, let's talk about it. So I have a little notepad here. We're going to start at the very top, and then I'll just show you guys everything once I finish this. So up first, we have Wixwell. Now, Wixwell is going to be extending the shields. This is the most important champion in the team. Without him, it's a lot different. Actually, I'd say Titus is technically the most important, but Wixwell is extending the buff duration. He's also extending or growing the shield, better yet, and he's placing increased defense. He's placing his shield at the beginning. Not so needed because we have other champions to do that, but he's also placing an intercept, which does help deal with the fears from the Head of Torment. So for champions you could replace him with, you could do Brogni. I've seen Bronco do a video about that. Brogni and Emic both work. The teams are quite a bit different, and moving into Nightmare may be next to impossible to push high damage because, especially with Brogni, he's not scaling based on a percent, whereas Wixwell does. Emic is capped at like 10,000 HP shield growth anyways, right? Emic, unfortunately, got hit with the Nerf hammer pretty hard a few years ago. So let's see what Emic does real quick. Okay, well, we already used his A1. Either way, he's not extending that much, but he could be paired with several ally attack champions, which could do decent, which is what Bronco did. You could also use Bambus. Now, I've seen Bambus asked about a few times. The thing with Bambus is if the HYDRA heads have block buffs, he's not reducing any durations, so the scaling is only at 2%. It's going to be very slow to ramp up. You could use him if you don't have Wixwell, give it a shot, but it's going to be a little bit tricky. It could work, though. Maybe that we can work on a team like that in the future, but this is what I wanted to share because this is probably going to relate to most players, especially since there's no manualing this whatsoever. Literally just full auto. So Lammasu, right here, the free champion from Clan Siege, if your clan is one enough, we have Lammasu. She's here for the decreased attack, which is lowering the amount of shield being reduced whenever we're being hit, basically. So weaker hits, bigger shield, better damage. She's placing decreased speed, which helps me cycle more turns, more damage before they start devouring my champions. We have block buffs, which is preventing anything from being stolen and then spread and then everything just getting really weird, like counterattacks from Wixwell, all that kind of stuff. Things could get stolen, but it's not going to actually be applied. And then we have the reset. But the reset on full auto is quite random. I don't really know how she's prioritizing targets, especially since Wixwell is also placing intercept throughout the team. So wherever she places the cooldown reduction is excellent. The cooldown reset is excellent because all these champions benefit from it. She is also in a hex set because her A1 ability, being an AoE effect, is going to always have a chance of placing hex on everybody, which is going to boost your overall damage significantly. The Titus's A2 ability is doing massive damage, spreading it to Hex, and you'll see hopefully in a little while, if we scale our damage up a little bit higher, it does a lot. Now up next, we have Lydia. Lydia's here for decreased defense, weaken, and increased speed. She's also in a Hex set. Doesn't have to be. She could be in a Feral set. She could be in a Protection set. That would all boost the damage a bit more, but she's just in Hex because previously she was the only champion I had placing the Hex. But Lammasu is much better because her A1 is AoE. The increased speed is huge. More turns. If you're doing a double reset team, you may not need this as much because you're going to get plenty of turns anyways, especially if you had a champion who could spread some shields, like I think Togron from his A1 ability. Gamarin can spread the shields. Unfortunately, not the shield set, though, from what I noticed and what I tested a little bit. But champions like that, I think Odin has a buff spread as well. But those champions could do really well, and you may not need the increased speed as much. For me, I needed that. Now, the decreased defense and weaken is very helpful, especially in a team where we don't have full defense ignore. Weaken is very nice always. Even if you have full defense ignore, weaken's just going to be boosting your damage, which is why a lot of players either in Lydia's spot or more specifically Mikage's spot throw in Mad Hatter. So she could very easily be Mad Hatter. They're going to bring very similar stuff. Essentially, Mikage is here for the ally attack. Mad Hatter has it, but a better version of it. And she is here for the A2, essentially acting as a cleanse. So reducing the duration of debuffs and reducing the duration of all kinds of stuff on the Hydra. She has an excellent A2 ability, but essentially she's there for the ally attack, helping Emic grow his shield a little bit faster, helping free champions when they get eaten, specifically Titus if he's eaten, and of course the A2 ability, extending buff duration, which Mad Hatter does the exact same, and he also places weaken. So eventually, you could move into a team where it has no decreased defense. Your Titus is 6-star Crushing Rend. You have your Hydra defense ignore bonuses. You have your Cat's Gaze leveled up quite a bit. And now he's basically ignoring 100% defense just from himself. And then you don't have to worry about the extra decreased defense from Lydia. So you can start being a little bit more creative. But for now, we're just going to assume you don't have a 6-star Crushing Rend Titus. Up next, we have Emic. Emic is here for one. He has a shield. He places a shield from his A2. He does the taunt and the unkillable from the A3, helping you survive a little bit longer. He also grows the shield from his A1, but most importantly, his A2 is going to reset skills. He's currently in a shield set and merciless. Shield set is required. You need at least 2 shields to be growing, the casted shield and the shield set if you want to do any decent damage at the beginning. This version, of course, I did not have Titus being eaten first. I'll go over that in a minute. Mikage was the first champion to be eaten. You can see at this point, let's see how much damage he's doing. You can definitely take it to where he is being eaten first, and then you spend the rest of the fight hoping that he doesn't get eaten, and you can scale your shield. But essentially what I've done is have Mikage eaten first, and then hope that Titus doesn't get eaten, and if he does, it's at the very end, and then at least he's not taking 2 devours. But back to Emic, let's talk about him. So more resets, big shields, unkillable, all that kind of good stuff. Excellent champion, but he could be a champion with just a reset. This could be a Painkeeper. It would do very similar stuff. You wouldn't have the extra A1 shield growth. The reason why Titus is in the lead spot here is because Emic, if we all have shields, he's going to prioritize the lead champion. In this case, it's Titus. If I put Lammasu there, he's going to be growing her shield. She doesn't need a big shield. Now, Titus, he's slow. He's the second highest crit damage, so he's not targeted first. Doesn't have a ton of HP, though to be honest, I haven't fully min-maxed this. He could have less HP. Basically, the multiplier is working like this. This is Yannick here responding in the RSL leaderboards chat, saying that the multiplier for Titus's A2 ability is 5.5 defense times, or basically 1 plus shield sum divided by HP. So the more HP you have, the smaller that number is going to be overall, making him do a little bit damage. Basically, the difference between his HP and his shield, the bigger it is, the better it is. So the smaller HP you have, the better that big shield is going to be. However, don't leave your Titus at level 1 because the defense multiplier, as Yannick said, is very significant. So you want to kind of balance it out the best you can. Just keep him pretty low HP and you're going to be good to go. Now, as for the very bottom section, let's see what we got going on here. Most champions are above 270. This is not a magic number. I just try to make them pretty fast. It could be 300, it could be 320, whatever gear you can get, make them as fast as you can. Titus is just pretty slow. You can adjust this. Once again, it's not a magic number. I just put 220. I'm not for sure exactly what his speed is. Right now, he has 6-7 counts of these buffs. He could be a little bit lower. That'd be fine. So he could be a little bit faster, get more turns, do more damage. It could be better overall. You can fine tune this and tweak it to your account. It will make the most sense for you. But for here, I have most champions above 270, and Titus, I believe, is right around or below 220. Now, with that said, let's see, okay, higher chance at more A2s, and the A3 is turned off. The A3 does a turn meter boost. I don't want to boost champions' turn meters at the wrong time, so I just turn that completely off. This run, if optimized, could easily surpass 2 billion damage full auto. The gear requirements here aren't that crazy. Titus' 6-star soul isn't doing anything other than just giving him the stat boost. Besides that, it's not doing anything extra. HYDRA doesn't have the passive that changes based on the souls, I don't believe, anyways. So we're doing good here. You will notice that this Titus, there we go. See, the hex damage there was pretty crazy. The A2 ability destroyed these heads because of hex. So you definitely want to make sure you have a good, consistent hex champion on the team. Once this head takes a turn, unfortunately, we're going to be done. But you can see from his A1 ability there, it dealt almost 1 million damage, which is why I have him in 100% crit rate. It wasn't a significant difference in keeping him below 100% versus getting him to 100% for me. So in my case, I put him at 100% so we get that little extra chunk of damage going out. Let's go ahead and back out of here so you guys can see what damage was dealt. 1.5 billion damage, 100% full auto, 30 minutes, quick battle friendly. It will be a little bit RNG. Now let's take a look at the presets. You'll notice on Titus, I do have 451 resistance. This is needed. Look at the Hell Hades Stages tool for Nightmare Hydra, and you'll see that 455 resistance is what we'll need to resist that Head of Mischief. Titus is the most important champion to resist the Head of Mischief. All the other champions, if they get their stuff stolen, it's not a huge deal. We have Lammasu here, placing block buffs. So even if they do steal it, either Lammasu is going to already have block buffs on them, or Lady Mikage can just reduce the duration and it'll be gone in no time. But if Titus gets his stuff stolen, it's going to be a big problem. You're going to have a slower ramp up in damage. Your double shield's going to be removed to only one shield, and it's just going to be a much bigger headache. So you do want Titus to have good resistance. Now, with champions like Wixwell, champions like Emic, who could have extra buffs on them anyways, it is good to have them with plenty of resistance, so they'll actually be able to keep those buffs and keep being targeted by the Head of Mischief, lowering that 3% chance that you do get buffs stolen. As for the presets and the stats specific to HYDRA, after the bonuses and everything, we have Titus, Lady Mikage, Lammasu, Emic, Lydia, and then last but not least, our boy Wixwell. So those are all the stats, the breakdowns with the HYDRA bonuses and everything shown. Let me jump in here and show you what gear sets they're all wearing. We have Titus in 6-piece Merciless plus Zeal, more cooldowns, damage boost from Zeal. For every 25% HP we have, we should have 100% all the time. So that should be, what, 12% damage boost? As for the Relic, of course, we have Cat's Gaze. I definitely recommend going Cat's Gaze. If you have these gemstones, throw them in there as well. Extra damage based on accuracy. We're not building him for accuracy, but he will have some. And then Boss Slayer. I don't have Boss Slayer on live servers. Obviously, this is test server, but maybe one day. Maybe one day. As for the masteries, I do have Helm Smasher. You don't need Helm Smasher. These are not necessarily the most optimal masteries. If you have 6-star Crushing Rend, you don't need Helm Smasher. If you have less than that, Helm Smasher is still going to be beneficial. You do want things like Bring It Down. You could want things like this, but it's not going to be great, to be honest. If you're running Gerp Tuck, of course you could run something like this. To be honest, what I'm mainly going for is Helm Smasher. Single Out is good if they're below 40% HP, and then Bring It Down. Those things specifically can boost your damage overall. Picking up Lore of Steel will help you out, especially if you have the Zeal set. It'll boost your crit damage a little bit as well. I don't think it affects the damage dealt, considering Lore of Steel only boosts your base stats anyways. Now, if we go to the next champion, that is going to be Lydia. Lydia's build, here's her masteries. I try to, specifically on champions placing shields, not have the duration extended because it could replace shields early in the fight that have been extended. So I'm not going to do that. For her Relic, I don't know why I have that on her. It's kind of weird. But we have Hex set or Curse set. Placing hexes out there. Nothing too special. You already seen her stats. Let's move over to Lammasu. So Lammasu is in a curse set as well. You could do actually no, do curse set on her. That A1 placing hex is so nice. For her masteries, this is what I have. We have some turn meter boost here. It's not messing my runs up, but it could mess yours up, so be careful with that. As for Wixwell, we have a lot of resetting stuff. We have Reflex plus Merciless plus Refresh accessory. You don't have to have this, but the more resets you can get, the better he's going to do. The more of these A2s he can cast, the more extensions, growths, all that kind of stuff. You could technically turn this off after you initially cast it, but you do run the risk of this dropping off of other champions, them losing increased defense, and maybe things getting a little bit weird, but it will help the Reflex and Merciless go specifically to this A2 ability and get more uses of this off. So turning this off shouldn't be a problem, but it's something maybe you can test for yourself. So here is Wixwell. I have Stubbornness, increases resistance by 10 for each debuff on this champion. I was thinking it was actually Solidarity. This is what I meant to have. Increases ally resistance by 5 for each buff placed on them by this champion. So Wixwell, Emic, Lydia, if you need more resistance on your Titus, just go Solidarity and you're going to get that more resistance. Like I said, don't throw lasting gifts on these champions. It's going to make the shield get overwritten and potentially make a big shield a much smaller shield. So that is Wixwell right there. So take a look at Emic. That's not the Emic I'm looking for. Here we go. Emic right here. Once again, I have the wrong mastery there. It should be Solidarity, picking up more resistance. Doesn't really matter. We have plenty of resistance on the champions, but if you're really trying to get as much as you can, this is going to be better. Stubbornness does nothing because we're not really getting debuffs on me anyways. So we have a shield set plus Merciless. Definitely recommend going shield set plus Merciless. The more A2s you can use, the better the team, the smoother the team is going to run in general. Because we have only 2 buff extenders. We have Mikage and Wixwell. So it really relies on the champions getting resets, getting Reflex procs, Merciless procs, all that kind of stuff. So Merciless is your best friend in these teams. Emic starts with a pretty big shield because you don't want that shield set just being removed very quickly. So I've shown most of these champions. Let's go take a look at Mikage. Mikage is in a Merciless set plus pushing as much crit damage as I can get. I don't care about her crit rate. I just want her to be at a number that is going to be higher than Titus. We have a 4-star Malefic Talon, these masteries over here, but ultimately, I just want her to start with the Mark of HYDRA, which in order to do that, you have to have more crit damage. So she has Merciless, she's fast, and more crit damage. So every time I start HYDRA, she's going to be the one being devoured first. And ideally, like the previous match, almost every other champion besides Titus is going to be devoured after Mikage. That's a perfect situation. The next best situation would be Titus gets eaten directly after Mikage and then never again for the rest of the fight, but I don't know if that's going to work. You could, of course, throw in Titus with the most crit damage, but he's going to be eaten first, and then it basically makes your shield set useless because the time it's scaled to the point where it should be, well, it's going to be gone because you get devoured and it goes away. You can't replace it, unfortunately. But this is the team. That's a setup. Hopefully you guys can find some success in this. 100% full auto, Nightmare HYDRA. Obviously, it'll do pretty good damage on these lower difficulty if you wanted to do that as well. The overall builds, I feel like they're fairly accessible. Nothing too crazy on the champion, so you should be able to get that going. And if you can, congratulations. You're doing some pretty crazy HYDRA damage. You're getting all these chests with just one key. Thank you all very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you all in the next one.